Growing up as a twin meant I never had to face the world alone. Derek and I shared everything from the moment we entered this world, just 4 minutes apart. Same room, same school, same friends, even the same taste in clothes. People always said twins share one soul split into two bodies. I believed that with every fiber of my being. Until I discovered there was one thing my brother took without asking, and that one thing shattered everything I spent 5 years building with the woman I loved. Before I take you through the worst night of my life, let me know where you are watching from. Drop your city in the comments below. If stories about betrayal and karma hit close to home, you are going to want to hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell. This one is going to hurt, but I promise you the ending is worth every second. Now let me take you back to when everything still felt perfect. My name is Fletcher, and 5 years ago I married the woman I thought was my soulmate. Her name was Megan, and I met her through Derek during our college years. She was studying economics in the same program as my brother, and the moment I saw her at one of his study group sessions, something shifted inside me. She had this warmth about her, this genuine kindness that drew people in like moths to a flame. We dated for 2 years before I proposed, and our wedding was everything we had dreamed of. Nothing extravagant, just a small ceremony in my parents' backyard garden in Portland. My mother, Linda, cried happy tears as she watched us exchange vows. My father, Walter, stood proud, his hand on my shoulder before I walked down the aisle, and Derek, my twin brother, stood beside me as my best man. He gave a speech that night that brought the entire gathering to tears, talking about how he had never seen me happier. How Megan was the missing piece I had been searching for my whole life. After the wedding, Megan and I settled into a beautiful 2-story house in the suburbs of Portland. I was working as an architect for a well-known design firm, and she had landed a position as a marketing manager for a boutique hotel chain. Life felt complete. We had Sunday brunches with my parents, Friday dinners where Derek would come over with a bottle of wine and stories from his real estate deals, and lazy Saturday mornings where Megan and I would plan our future together. Derek lived about 15 minutes away in a sleek downtown apartment. He was still single, always joking that he could not find anyone who measured up to Megan. I took it as a compliment back then, a testament to how lucky I was. We maintained our traditions religiously. Every Monday night, Derek and I would watch football together, just like we had since high school. Some Sundays, the three of us would go hiking on the trails outside the city, laughing and talking about everything and nothing. I trusted them both completely. When colleagues at work would make jokes about leaving my wife alone with my identical twin, I would laugh it off without a second thought. One coworker even asked me directly once if I ever worried about it. I remember my exact words. I said, Derek is half of me, he would never do anything to hurt me. That belief was carved into my bones. It was unshakable. Or so I thought. The first signs appeared about 6 months before our anniversary party, though I did not recognize them for what they were at the time. Megan started waking up early to go to the gym, which was strange because she had always despised morning workouts. She began buying new clothes, fancy lingerie that she kept in a separate drawer I was not supposed to know about. Her phone became a fortress, always face down on the table, protected by a new passcode she never shared with me. I noticed she had grown irritable, snapping at me over small things, getting defensive when I asked about her day at work. One night I woke up around 2 in the morning and reached for her, only to find her side of the bed empty and cold. I found her in the living room, the glow of her phone illuminating her face as she smiled at something on the screen. When I asked who she was texting, she said it was a colleague in Europe dealing with a time zone difference. I believed her and went back to sleep. Derek changed too, though I blamed it on his busy schedule. He started canceling our Monday football nights, claiming he had big deals in the pipeline that demanded his attention. When we did see each other, something felt off. He avoided eye contact, always glancing at his phone, excusing himself to take calls outside. The easy closeness we had shared our entire lives seemed to have developed invisible walls. One afternoon, I came home from work earlier than usual. As I turned onto our street, I spotted Derek's car parked at the corner about 3 houses down from ours. I was about to call him when I saw the car pull away, heading in the opposite direction. I stood there confused, wondering why he had been so close to my house without stopping by, but I pushed the thought aside. He probably had a showing nearby and was just passing through. The moment that should have awakened me happened during a dinner at a restaurant downtown. The three of us were celebrating Megan closing a major account at work. I excused myself to use the restroom, and when I returned, I caught them in the middle of a whispered conversation. They stopped abruptly the second they noticed me approaching. The silence lasted maybe 2 seconds before Derek cracked a joke about the waiter's haircut, and they both laughed a little too loudly. Something cold twisted in my stomach, but I swallowed it down. These were the two people I loved most in the world. They would never betray me. 2 months before our anniversary party, Megan told me the news I had been waiting 3 years to hear. She prepared my favorite meal that Friday evening, and when I sat down at the table, there it was. A pregnancy test with 2 pink lines sitting right next to my plate. I could not breathe for a moment. We had been trying for so long, had been to doctors who told us to be patient, that it would happen when the time was right. And finally, here it was. I jumped up from my chair and wrapped my arms around her, tears streaming down my face. I called my parents immediately. My mother sobbed with joy through the phone. My father kept saying how proud he was, how he could not wait to be a grandfather. Derek was the third person I called. There was a pause on the line, a beat of silence that lasted just a moment too long before he said, "Congratulations." His voice sounded strange, almost strained, but I convinced myself he was just overwhelmed with emotion at the thought of becoming an uncle. He said he would come over to celebrate, but canceled at the last minute, citing an emergency with a client. Megan insisted we keep the pregnancy a secret from everyone else until the anniversary party. She wanted to make a grand announcement to surprise all our friends and family at once. I thought it was a bit unusual since I wanted to shout the news from every rooftop in Portland, but I agreed because I wanted to make her happy. She said she wanted the moment to be perfect, and who was I to deny her that? Looking back, the warning signs were everywhere, flashing red like emergency lights I chose to ignore. Megan started going to her prenatal appointments alone, telling me she did not want to burden me with time away from work. She hid the ultrasound images, claiming she wanted everything to be a surprise. Her phone now had 2 layers of security. Some nights I would hear her crying softly in the bathroom, and when I asked what was wrong, she blamed it on pregnancy hormones. The conversation I overheard changed everything, even though I did not fully understand it at the time. I came home early one afternoon, and as I approached our bedroom, I heard Megan speaking in hushed tones. Her words froze me in place outside the door. She said something about him not suspecting anything, about waiting until after the anniversary. My heart began to race. When she ended the call and walked out, she nearly jumped out of her skin seeing me standing there. She recovered quickly, explaining it was a confidential work project that required discretion. I nodded, but that cold feeling in my stomach had returned stronger than before. I started losing sleep. Food lost its taste. I would catch myself watching Megan when she was not looking, searching for something I was terrified to find. But I kept pushing the doubts away, building walls of denial around my heart. She loved me. Derek loved me. This was just paranoia, nothing more. Then 1 week before the anniversary party, I discovered the truth. I was cleaning out our closet to make space for the baby's things when I found an old iPhone tucked away in the back of Megan's drawer. Curiosity got the better of me. I plugged it in, and when the screen lit up, there was no passcode. I opened the messages, and my entire world collapsed. The conversation thread between Megan and Derek stretched back 2 years. 2 years of lies, of secret meetings, of declarations of love that should have been mine. Messages from Derek saying he could not live without her, that he missed her, asking her to come over when I was working late. Messages from Megan saying she would be there after 9, that they needed to be careful. But the messages from 3 months ago destroyed me completely. Megan had written that she was pregnant. Derek asked whose it was. Her reply was like a knife to my chest. She said it was his. She explained that during the 2 weeks I was away on a business trip they had been together. She assured him that I would never suspect anything because we were identical twins, our DNA virtually indistinguishable. No one would ever know. The most recent messages discussed their plans. Derek wanted to go public with their relationship. Megan told him to wait until after the anniversary party. She would ask me for a divorce, and then they would start their new life together with their child. The final message I read was from Megan telling Derek that she loved him more than she had ever loved me. The phone slipped from my trembling hands and clattered onto the floor. I barely made it to the bathroom before I was sick. For 2 hours I sat on the cold tile floor staring at nothing, feeling everything I had built crumble into dust. The woman I loved. The brother I trusted with my life. They had been betraying me for 2 years right under the roof I had worked so hard to provide. When the shock began to fade, something else took its place. Not despair. Not self-pity. It was cold, calculated determination. They wanted to use the anniversary party as the beginning of their new chapter. Fine. I would give them an anniversary celebration they would never forget. I did not confront them. Instead, I became an actor, playing the role of the oblivious husband. I bought Megan flowers, talked excitedly about the baby, made plans for the future I knew would never happen. She smiled and kissed me, completely unaware that I had seen behind her mask. Meanwhile, I prepared. I called Marcus, my best friend since childhood, and a divorce attorney. We met in secret and he helped me draw up the papers. I hired a private investigator who obtained photographs of Derek entering my house on mornings when I was at work. I contacted neighbors and got footage from their security cameras showing Derek's car parked outside for hours at a time. The week leading up to the party was the hardest of my life. Every smile I gave Megan felt like swallowing broken glass.